So what do you get when you mix a zombie apocalypse with some of the sickest parkour you've ever seen? That's right, you get none other than Dying Light, one of the best zombie games to date in my humble opinion. So for those of you who might not know what Dying Light is, let me give you a quick summary without spoiling too much of the storyline or gameplay. Dying Light is an open world and first person survival horror game that was released in January of 2015. And in the game you play as Kyle Crane, an undercover operative set into the quarantine city of Haran in the Middle East that's currently experiencing a zombie outbreak, to retrieve an important file from a rogue political figure. And you must choose between completing your mission or aiding the remaining survivors against the infected population. And Haran is absolutely polluted with a diverse range of infected ranging from absolutely stomach churning to downright spine chilling. So with that out of the way, let's look at all of the infected types seen in Dying Light. Virals are humans who have only recently been infected. We're talking no more than a few hours to a few days, meaning they are still physically alive and can even be heard speaking at times. Their bodies retain the strength necessary for exceptional fitness and agility, allowing them to run faster than most other infected. They can also jump and climb over obstacles and buildings, enabling them to pursue the player even in areas that are usually inaccessible to regular infected. Unlike the slower, shambling infected, virals don't bite or lunge to trap players. Instead, they use their hands to fiercely claw and punch their targets. They also have more advanced mental abilities compared to biters, often dodging attacks and keeping their distance, charging in and retreating strategically. Biters are individuals infected with the Haran virus who have been symptomatic for an extended period of time, usually upwards to a few weeks, leading to severe physical degradation and a significant loss of movement, speed, and coordination. They make up the majority of the infected in Haran and are the first type that the player encounters after dropping into the city. Like the other types of infected, biters are drawn to the living and will do whatever they can to attack and consume them. They're visually distinguished from virals by their partially or significantly decayed bodies and complete hair loss. They attack with wide, uncoordinated swings or by grappling and biting their victims. There also exists a few variants and archetypes of biters as well, ranging from the weakest archetype, characterized by their gray skin, slow movement, low aggression, and minimal damage infliction, to the strongest, often burly male biters in industrial rubber uniforms, flannels with overalls, or military armor and wielding melee weapons. Some variants include toxic biters that emit green gas and inflict toxic damage when in close proximity, and burning biters, which are always engulfed in flames and can ignite flammable objects as well as inflict fire damage on contact. Some biters at night undergo a sudden transformation, gaining much higher agility and aggression similar to virals, and are referred to as nightwalkers. They're also arguably the most dangerous version of the biter that the player will encounter. Gas tanks were originally members of a special cleanup unit deployed to Haran as part of the military. However, they became infected with the virus, and now these former soldiers roam amongst the very infected they were once tasked with eliminating. And gas tanks are essentially biters trapped in durable hazmat suits, and one of their more distinctive features is the bright red oxygen tank attached to their back. A direct hit to this tank, either with a melee or ranged attack, will cause it to explode after a few seconds. The resulting explosion is loud and powerful, causing significant damage within a small radius and typically attracting virals to the area. Fortunately, their suits prevent them from biting other players, but it also makes them fireproof, highly durable, and resistant to dismemberment or decapitation. They're also much harder to knock down with melee strikes. There's two variants of gas tanks that can be encountered: the yellow-suited gas tank, which is the most common type, mostly found throughout the slums in Old Town, and the white-suited gas tanks that are a lot more rare and most likely to drop medicinal items like alcohol or gauze. And at night, gas tanks can rapidly transform into their Nightwalker variant, becoming screaming, sprinting bombers that charge the player and explode. Goons are large, powerful infected that stand about 8 feet tall. They typically wield a chunk of concrete with a rebar used as a handle, which they use to smash into the ground or swing at the player. And additionally, goons can use their left arm to swat survivors away as a secondary attack. While they're much stronger than regular infected, goons are very slow and completely unable to climb objects or buildings. The goon's rebar swing is slow, with a lengthy recovery time, allowing the player to either attack or retreat between swings. The goon's attacks can also harm other infected, which can be used to the player's advantage. However, it's important to note that with each hit the player lands on a goon, it makes it more aggressive and increases the speed of its attacks. And goons come in 3 ranks, which progressively appear as the player advances throughout the game. The first rank are dressed in orange industrial workers' uniforms and are first encountered during the story quest First Assignment. The second rank wears a black firefighter's outfit and is initially seen in the Volatile Nest skyscraper during the Siblings quest. And the third rank is shirtless with black pants. This goon has significant skin loss, exposing its muscles. Each higher rank of goon has increased health and a larger shockwave radius when slamming their rebar into the ground. The rank 3 goon shockwave is the most powerful, reaching nearly a 20-foot radius. Additionally, a rare variant of the third rank appears in the slums after completing the Pit storyline quest. This variant is similar to the regular rank 3 goon but has green tinted skin and wears hot pink pants instead of black. These special goons start appearing once the player reaches Old Town and are a reference to the Incredible Hulk. Toads are a rare type of infected known for their ability to spit green acidic phlegm that damages the player, and they take the term fugly to a whole new level. They're most commonly found on rooftops and anywhere where they have a height and range advantage. And as previously stated, the toad's main form of attack is spitting large quantities of an acidic phlegm, which can deal heavy corrosive damage. And while the toads are a lot more agile than some other special infected capable of easily leaping across rooftops, they're also one of the weaker infection types. They can be taken down with just a few hits from a melee weapon, making them a relatively dangerous ranged enemy and horde support, but weak when isolated or faced at close range. Demolishers are the largest type of infected that the player will encounter. Most of the Demolishers were once members of the Haran Police Force's Riot Control Unit, tasked with aiding the city's residents and combating the infected. And after becoming infected, they mutated into powerful brutes with enough strength to rip large chunks of concrete from the ground and hurl them at survivors. They also have the ability to break through walls and both lift and hurl vehicles over long distances. When a Demolisher spots the player, it will charge at them, though it is relatively slow and can be pretty easily avoided. Physically, the Demolisher is much bigger and stronger than all other infected types. Most of their attacks have a longer wind-up time, which makes them easier to dodge, and provides opportunities to use the Demolisher's attacks to disperse nearby biters. A gas mask variation of the Demolisher also exists. They possess large gas cylinders on their back that explodes when damaged, very similar to the gas tanks. Bombers are a type of infected characterized by their exposed organs and shambling jog. Their thoracic and abdominal cavities appear to have been torn open. Now, whether this was caused by another infected or some other factor is unclear. The bomber's internal organs are severely enlarged, pulsating and protruding from their body in a horrific display. They can also be easily identified by their choked, pained whimpers and a distinct pulsating, throbbing sound that can be heard when they're nearby. Their behavior is similar to that of the common infected like biters, but the one key difference is that the bomber accelerates and starts to convulse when non-infected humans are nearby. And when they reach or catch up to the player, the bomber's organs begin to pulsate frantically as they let out a scream of agony before detonating. The explosion deals heavy damage and also covers the player in its coagulated blood, which temporarily blinds them and acts as a siren calling in virals to its location. Screamers are infected children whose ear-piercing screams disorient the player's vision, rendering them unable to fight, and attracts hordes of other infected. Players also sustain low continuous damage when in range of their screams. Screamers are found inside of houses, buildings, or apartment complexes and don't venture into the open world of infected. Unlike other infected, screamers display no aggressive tendencies and appear to be trapped in a perpetual state of fear. Yeah, depressing I know, but don't worry, it gets worse. When unprovoked, they can be heard crying in a manner that's strikingly similar to a distressed human child. And if startled by a survivor, their cries escalate into an ear-piercing scream that conveys sheer terror. It's not known whether or not screamers are a unique mutation of the Haran virus, affecting only children, or if all infected children become screamers by default, but speculation suggests that it's the latter, attributing their fearful behavior to the underdeveloped fight response in a child's brain, which contrasts with the stronger flight response of children compared to adults. Their constant crying might also stem from the agony of their mutated bodies, as it closely resembles cries of extreme pain and discomfort. Screamers stay in one spot, crying endlessly, which some speculate could be an instinctive lure to attract unsuspecting survivors or runners into traps. The Volatile is a type of infected that only appears at night. These creatures are incredibly powerful and durable, making the player's best option when encountering one or more of them to run to the nearest safe zone, ideally before being noticed. Volatiles are broad-shouldered infected, standing slightly taller than the average biter. They're characterized by exposed bone and muscle, full-body nudity, and a mandible-like jaw. Their presence is often signaled by heavy breathing and loud screeches, scaling obstacles and buildings with ease, matching the player's agility. They possess a devastating pounce attack that, if not avoided properly, can deal heavy damage to the player. If a Volatile can't reach a player due to the terrain, it will employ a rapid spit attack similar to the toads, often knocking players off ledges and dealing significant damage. Volatiles are extremely sensitive to sunlight and UV rays, so much so that being exposed to either for any length of time burns their skin, making them unable to go outside during the day. At sunrise, Volatiles become frightened and rush to the nearest dark zones such as caves or tunnels, and during this retreat they ignore players entirely even if being attacked. However, once they reach the shade, they regain their aggressive behavior. A stronger variant known as blue Volatiles are distinguished by dark blue bone-like growths, spiked carapaces, and a more arachnoid appearance. They're significantly faster, stronger, and more resistant to melee and firearms due to their armor-like exoskeleton. These variants deal more damage, have an extended pounce range, and can detect players even through camouflage or cloaking potions. Blue Volatiles are also more reliant on their accurate and damaging spit attacks, making them exceptionally difficult to evade. Another infected type that only appears at night are the bolters. Bolters are one of the rarest types of infected that can be encountered in Haran. And on top of being one of the rarest, they're also the strangest, at least behavioral wise, because the Bolter is the only infected type in the game that doesn't attack the player. Instead, when they hear or encounter non-infected humans, they run away, hence why they've been dubbed Bolters by survivors. They're recognized by the green glowing lumps covering their body, and much like Volatiles, Bolters only appear at night, often on rooftops or tucked away in certain areas chowing down on corpses. During the siblings' main quest, it's revealed that Bolters are infected that have consumed a bait that was planted by Dr. Zara as part of an experiment during the outbreak. There's also hints that suggest Bolters might have some ability to influence other infected. They're often guarded by various Volatiles, and when a Bolter is alerted or killed, the nearby Volatiles are triggered into a chase. Well, that basically covers all of the infected types that the player will encounter in the single-player mode of Dying Light. But there is one more infected type that's exclusive to the game's multiplayer and can actually be controlled by a player. It's known as the Night Hunter. The Night Hunter is a player-controlled formidable predator that guards hives of incubating volatiles. It's a powerful adversary that survivors should always be on the lookout for. The Night Hunter can howl, revealing the locations of survivors globally, acting as an enhanced survivor sense. Using its tendrils, it can move at high speeds and never runs out of stamina, except when exposed to UV light that it has a weakness to, much like with the volatiles. As the Night Hunter levels up, it gains the ability to spit 4 different types of projectiles, and it can also go through 3 stages of mutations, each unlocking new skills. And technically, the Night Hunter could be considered the rarest infected that's encountered in the game, since there's only the one that's known to exist. There's also been a lot of online theories suggesting that Kyle Crane is in fact the Night Hunter, but there was never enough evidence to suggest this, and it has since been debunked, with Crane being the main protagonist in the upcoming Dying Light game, The Beast, leaving the actual identity of this creature unknown. So, that covers all the different infected types as well as their variations seen in Dying Light. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and make sure to give a like if you found it informative or helpful, or at the very least made you want to try the game out for yourself. And subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Thanks again for watching, and catch you guys in the next video.